Hi Shell, and all you other wonderful weirdos watching. So, the Mangler, story 5 in the night shift. I could not, for the life of me, find an audiobook, and I ended up finding the exact same person talk about it, like a review, starting the exact same way off with a quote from the book, and then discussing it like a review on different videos in the list, thinking it's an audiobook and it's on different back, it's got a different image on, it's on different videos, and I'm just like, has somebody copied and pasted somebody's review? Because this seems very wrong. So yeah, I had a weird interesting spell of trying to find an audiobook and failed. So this is the first time I've not got an audiobook. And partially thinking it's because it's a bit gruesome in a way that I'm pretty sure you can't get monetized if you've like got a YouTube channel that has audiobooks on. So I can imagine that's why I had a bit of a tough time trying to find something. So yeah. So the Mangler is around about just under 30 pages ish, and this is more of a detective story where an officer's just like finding out about this incident. It could just be a machine that's gone wrong, and management's gonna get done for like negligence when it comes to health and safety standards. And yeah, so that's what the first step was. And then apparently, all of the inspections of this machine, there's no wrong with it. No wrong. And the machine itself is this, it's very difficult to try and picture, but it's like this industrial laundrette that does like bed sheets and has a lot going into it. So they've got this giant iron that has all of the sheets fed through it and ironed with steam and folded at the end, and this person got caught up in it. We kind of get a few more accidents after that. The steam valve broke and burnt a few of the employees waiting for the sheets at the other end. Oh, yikes. Not great. So thankfully they survived, but at the same time they're pretty injured. But they're not as bad as the first victim. The description, it didn't actually need a description. You do kind of get one, but I like how, in order to like say just how bad, just how messed up the body was, you just you get this, because you get the officer who's just like saying how he doesn't like how the person who is showing him the way to the body, the machine is just like, I can't go there, I can't look again. And he's just like criticizing him in his head, just going, oh, I can't stand these people. They will cut corners until somebody gets hurt or killed, and all of a sudden they can't look. And then Hunton took a long, frozen look, and then he performed a first in his 14 years as a law enforcement officer. He turned around, put a convulsive hand to his mouth, and threw up. That is all you really need to know about how bad this lady has turned out up when she got caught in the machine. That's all the description you need, is a police officer criticizing somebody for not wanting to look at the body, and then having that reaction as a first that he's ever done. Whew. Yeah, quite an introduction into the first section of the story. We kind of go from accident to accident, and there's even this conversation between Hunton and the inspector. Yeah, the inspector, Roger Martin, who at the end of the case, it kind of just gets chalked up to a horrible accident that nobody understands how it happened, because all of the things check out. the safety bar is top notch. The only way she could have ended up in the machine is if she fell on it from a height, but her feet were on the ground and nobody can explain it. And there's a story from this inspector of the machine about a fridge, an ice box, that went horribly wrong, and that kind of gave him the spook factor. And he's just comparing it to that this iron machine is giving him that particular spook. And it's just how that story keeps getting comes back, going, do you remember that story you told me about that fridge? Good, I need this. And so he actually does come back in, is a recurring character in the story. But yeah, we get quite a bit of, but he's not actually the secondary character. The secondary character is Hunton's friend, who's a professor, Jackson. Pretty sure he's an English professor, but he's apparently a specialist in demon knowledge, because apparently they find out that the incident started when a young woman who just started brand new at the job, first job ever, cut her hand in the machine, and since then all these things have started going wrong. And they kind of just start going about, oh, she must be a virgin because it's virgin blood, and it could be a particular ritual to summon a demon via virgin blood. And I just kept thinking to myself, that demon must be hating itself that it got stuck into a machine. Because I think it's just because I'm so used to supernatural. These demons are entities that would rather like possess people, but it's stuck in a machine. So yeah, that just kept making me just chuckle in my head. But if you know, you know. Yeah, I can. It kind of felt a little absurd, but they kind of eventually come across an entire list of ingredients for this spell, because another incident happened where a guy was losing his arm pretty violently to this machine. The other person who was there helping maintenance on the machine ended up turning it off, throwing all of the fuses out, and it's still going. So that was like the incident that kind of cemented all of the, okay, it's definitely demonic in some way. Let's start investigating it like that. Because Hunton is just not convinced up until a certain point, and so they actually go to the first person who like cut her finger and just straight up asked her, "Are you a virgin?" It's like, are we seriously doing this? Okay. I mean, they did sugarcoat it, going say this might not seem relevant, but it just might help. It's just, of course, sure. Explain to an officer and somebody who's a professor. Sure, that's not weird at all. But I don't know. It's a little bonkers in that regard. But after everything that was happening, maybe she was just like thinking the same things. Maybe, I don't know, because they weren't going to like divulge. Oh yeah, we think it's a demon. But yeah, they found the list of ingredients to like, if all of these things get decanted into this machine, then it could summon a demon, and maybe that is what happened. And they just try and go through and analyze, seeing if all the different ways these ingredients might happen to end up in the machine. And so obviously we had the blood of a virgin confirmed, then it was graveyard dirt. Huh? Hand of glory, bat's blood, night moss, horse's hoof, and eye of Tord. And they were just like saying, oh yeah, horse's hoof. I saw Jello. I saw Jello when I was there the first time, and that's pretty common in packed lunches, etc. Like, apparently Jello is horse hooves. Gross. Yikes. America, what is it with your Jello? I honestly don't know if jelly is like that either, but at least I don't eat that. But yeah, they were saying how lichen could also be substituted for the night moss, and because it's just all ambiguous and you can be creative on how to like substitute these ingredients. And they were just like saying, oh yeah, there could be bats in the thing for the bat's blood. And they were just like saying, right, belladonna is one of the ingredients, but and hand of glory is also like one of the things. Just like, right, we can't find anything to do with these two things. It's just like, so it can't be as worse as it could have been. So they just prep for what they've already deduced. And then we get a description of what happened before the girl cut her finger, and turns out that that Adele, who got caught up in the machine, can't testify what had happened because she's dead and she can't inform them. She could have warned them about the thing, but apparently she takes a particular stomach tablet that the ingredient is belladonna, and apparently she accidentally tipped a few into the machine a week before the finger incident. So yeah, every single ingredient is there for a very, very powerful demon to be possessing this machine. I mean, I'm not entirely sure I like this particular way of having an evil machine. Just having a sinister machine without any explanation is scary enough. But it's just, I don't know how I feel about the demonic possession. But it I don't know, it seems quirky enough for flying by it, and we get quite some chilling lines from this as well. Also, I just want to before we got talk before I want to talk about the end, I need to like mention this. But the woman who got caught up in the machine apparently was sewed together by a patient undertaker and lay in her coffin. Um, what? Did they seriously sew this woman back together? I mean, there was a description that she was carried out by a basket, and I'm just like, did they? What? I mean, I know you wanted to put somebody to rest, but at that point, I'm pretty sure you can just like have a smaller box, a smaller coffin. I feel sorry for the person that sewed her back together. Honestly, yeah, that was a line. That was a choice. That was a choice to put that in there. Very 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 weird. But okay, okay, sure, sure. And the other line that I kind of was like, what? Just because there are occasionally there is a line I have been finding, and it's just like the line that pulls you out, going, hang on, what? Hmm? But it's just this line. It was very funny how George Stanner lost his arm in the Mangler. How is that going to be a funny story? And not only that, when I read it, that is not funny. Why would you describe that as funny, Stephen King? Why would you do that? Oh no. So, yeah. When they go and finally confront the Mangler and, well, throw some holy water on it and speaks stuff from the Bible. I mean, typical exorcism, really. I like how there's an instruction manual. There's always an instruction manual on how to step-by-step guide on exercising your iron machine. Oh, I should not be laughing. This is a very gruesome story about people getting mangled in an industrial machine. I guess it's just the small like things like throwing holy water onto a machine. But yeah, they go into and start doing all of their stuff, and it just roars into life, goes faster than ever, and so fast that it starts breaking the cement that it's been like grounded to, like it's bolted to the floor. It's now going so fast that it's shaking itself free, and it just chases after them. And all I have is this image of a 30-foot long machine just dancing its way towards these guys, and I'm just like, this is not the right image in my head for this. This is not a scary image I have. It just looks so funky, the image I have conjured in my head, that is just, I can't take it seriously. But yeah, it is effective, though. That does end quite, because I was expecting it to like, the only way this story was going to end was if they took the whole thing apart. But some idiot somewhere decides, recycle the parts and have more like parts put into other machines, and then we have more cursed machines. I genuinely thought that was how it was going to go. No, we get a really big machine following Hunton to the next guy's house, to the inspector's house, and the inspector is on the hearing this thing coming, smelling the blood in the air. This is one funky image I have in my head, because it's just this giant machine shaking itself down the street. I mean, the description's like really cool when it comes to describing this very scary machine, but at the end of the day, it's been described as 30 foot by 6 foot and giant. It's a giant machine, and it's shaking itself free from the concrete and following people. That's not a scary image. Just, I know the descriptions are brilliant to conjure something scary, but I just can't. I'm still a bit wheezy from last week, but this is the first time I probably found a horror like funny. Don't know why. Just, I mean, it's just the ending was funny, not the build up. The build up was quite effective. It's just the ending. But that was my thoughts on the Mangler, anyways. I mean, I've always thought of, you know how you get taught about the Victorian era and the industrial machines, and incidents that happen when you've got to go in and like do all of the stuff whilst they're running the machine. I always had that nightmarish feeling towards that subject, and that this actually does play very well on that fear of just a giant industrial machine, and we should not have so few safety rails. Just have way more safety precautions on there, because once you're in the machine, you can't get out. Definitely don't want to get mangled yourself. So, but yeah, that's just this week's episode of Short Story Saturday. Just a quick mention on last week's video. I actually recorded it on the Friday, talking about it, and I mentioned the Doctor Who episode Midnight, and then on the Saturday we got the Doctor Who episode The Well. If you know, you know, but also I was talking about sci-fi horror, and it was the sci-fi horror episode of the series, and oh god, that was good. That was very good. Anyone in my audience a Doctor Who fan? Because I would love to nerd out about Doctor Who, especially last week's, because that was a really good sci-fi horror. I do love a good sci-fi horror, and they are awesome. So yeah, that was amazing timing on my part for that. But yeah, that's this week's short story. Never laughed at a horror ending before, but there's a first for everything. This one was definitely all of the above when it comes to gruesome, gory, and creepy, as well as I can't get that image of a shuffling machine coming down the street out of my head. So yeah, future Cass here, but that image just of the Mangler is getting worse. Just because I've just had some time just sitting on it, but I just can't get this out of my head now, because the Mangler is just shuffling down the street singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-doo. I'm just losing my mind over this image. I know this is like supposed to be a horror story, and it's just, I'm already unhinged to begin with, but this is just getting worse. Yay. Anyways, bye Shell, and goodbye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.